CQVX, CQVX, CQVX. This is Havana calling. CQVX, CQVX, CQVX. This is Radio Havana calling all shortwave listeners and radio amateurs. Welcome to... DXers Unlimited, Radio Havana's weekly feature dedicated to the fascinating world of radio communications.
Hola, amigos radio aficionados all around the world now listening to Radio Havana Cuba. I am Arnaldo Arnicoro, and here's item 1 of today's show, an important news item. The sun is at rest. For about 1/3 of this year so far, astronomers have not seen a single sunspot on the solar disk. The most recent record of days without sunspots that I had at hand when writing this script had reached 11 consecutive spotless days, and that was on Friday. By the time the show will be on the air, the record may have extended still more if no new sunspots have appeared on the solar disk. It is important to understand that the worldwide high-frequency radio wave propagation conditions are most evenly balanced during the fall and spring equinoxes we're going right now through, and they are severely affected during the summer and winter solstices. Propagation conditions also change on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, and even by decades, as the sun rises and sets at different times and at different angles from the ecliptic. This is due to changes in the maximum usable frequency, also the changing lowest usable frequency, and the F-layer critical frequency, the F0, F2, a very important ionosphere parameter. The D and E layers also come into play because radio frequency wave signal absorption and refraction occur there. D layer absorption of radio waves is at a minimum during periods of very low solar activity like the one we're going through right now. Another factor to consider is the sudden appearance of sporadic E layer and providing sometimes really amazing propagations on very high frequencies not normally propagated via the ionosphere. Yes, VHF events on the sporadic E are fantastic. I have seen the maximum usable frequency climb past 220 megahertz for a few minutes. Sudden ionospheric events coming from the E layer and lightning storms also produce negative impacts on other shortwave propagation conditions. Keeping a close watch on the evolution of solar activity and the changes of the Earth's magnetic field is essential if one really wants to achieve good results when taking part, for example, in the challenging amateur radio contest. Si amigos, yes my friends, considering the present very low solar activity, it is a good idea to keep a logbook where you write down on a daily basis your observations of such parameters as sunspot number, solar flux, and the geomagnetic indexes. And now, here at the weekend edition of DXers Unlimited, item 2. Cuban radio amateurs will soon be on the air using the new, for us, 630 meters band, spanning from 472 to 479 kilohertz. Recent reports demonstrate that during special propagation conditions, the 630 meters band may provide two-way contacts of up to several thousand miles when using sophisticated digital modes like the one known as JT9 that was developed by Nobel Prize Award winner and radio amateur Joseph Taylor, K1JT, and made available freely to the world radio amateurs thanks to Joy's generosity. Now, item 3 of today's edition of DXers Unlimited. I have written down a list that shows that there are 93 different ways to enjoy our wonderful radio hobby. One of the not too well known of them is using the relatively new low-frequency amateur bands. Some of them are not available yet in many countries, but the general trend is to see more and more telecommunications administrations to grant operating privilege to their ham radio operators to use those new bands. One particular band that in my opinion is the most challenging so far is the 73 kilohertz assignment. That is now home for experimenters that are able to build their own transmitters of fairly high power using powerful solid-state devices. Reception is much easier by building an up converter that changes the 70 to 80 kilohertz frequency range up to a segment of one of the higher frequency amateur bands. This is the same procedure used to pick up signals from the 135 and the 472 kilohertz bands. Stay tuned now for more Radio Havana-related information coming to you directly and from the source via DXers Unlimited from Radio Havana, Cuba. I'm Arnie Coro, my ham radio call sign Charlie Oscar 2 Kilo Kilo, and I do enjoy operating a lot on 20 meters. This is Radio Havana, Cuba. The name of the show is DXers Unlimited, and here is Ask Arnie, la número uno, the number one most popular section of this show. Listener Fred from Ontario, Canada, asks why I do not provide our audience with frequencies and times when they may listen to shortwave and AM and FM stations for DXing. Well, mi amigo Fred, my answer is very easy to understand. What I can pick up here at my QTH in La Habana, Cuba, at the western part of Cuba, may or may not be heard with the same, better or worse signal intensity just 300 or 400 miles away in eastern Cuba, and I have checked that many times. And of course, that trying to pick up such signals 2,000 miles to the north, to the east, or to the west of my location would prove to be in many instances next to impossible. Sometimes when I do decide to call the attention of my audience about a certain station operating during my local evening hours, for example, giving the information requires to add a disclaimer to it, saying that you might or might not be able to pick up that particular station at your location, of course. My advice for both beginners and experts is to build your own list of stations by downloading the databases for each ITU frequency list that provides information that are essential for monitoring purposes, including the station's frequency, time on the air, the type of antenna, and also the ITU zones that are the target areas for that particular broadcast. And now the second question to be answered here at Ask Arnie today. Listener Gloria from Madrid, Spain, tells me that she listens to both Spanish and English programs of Radio Havana, Cuba via the internet connection. And from time to time, very late in the evening, she can pick up RHC Spanish programs on the 6060 kilohertz 49 meters band frequency. Gloria wants to know about other Radio Havana, Cuba frequencies that are beamed to Europe. So I have sent her our upcoming schedule that will be on the air starting on the 9th of April. And now the next news item, more about the challenge that an extremely weak upcoming solar cycle will mean to all of us. Now, after more than 11 days without sunspots during the present solar cycle, some forecasters are thinking about rerunning their computer models to see if solar cycle 24, the weakest one in more than 200 years, may come to an end at a much earlier date than was expected, something that will make possible for solar cycle 25 to start also at a much earlier date. One of our local astronomers just told me that we may be well coming into another Dalton minimum, a period that lasted about 70 years when sunspots were very rarely seen. The Dalton minimum was a period of very low sunspot count, representing extremely low solar activity, and it was named after the English meteorologist John Dalton. According to some scientists, it lasted from the year 1790 to the year 1830, while others believe it started later and came to an end earlier. In both cases, the period corresponded to solar cycles 4, 5, 6, and 7. And by the way, solar astronomers are pointing out to the similarity of the behavior of the sun during solar cycle 6 and the present extremely weak cycle 24. We all now can arrive to preliminary conclusions leading that the need to install the best possible antennas for the low frequencies is an absolute necessity. Frequencies not higher than 10 megahertz will be propagating. My advice is to start gathering materials for a low solar activity optimized broadband antenna system. If you have enough space available, go for the 30 meters long TTFD antenna, and if limited in space available, then build and install the 15 meters long version. That provides good reception within the frequency range from 5 to 25 megahertz, according to the test done here. Following Dr. Sevic's advice, use a terminating resistor between 800 and 900 ohms. And do remember that it must be a non-inductive resistor capable of dissipating about a third of the power applied to the antenna if you are going to use the antenna for transmitting. And now, amigos, at the end of our weekend edition, here is the propagation update and forecast. Solar activity at extremely low levels, practically at the baseline solar flux ever recorded, and with no sunspots in sight for many consecutive days in a row. Send your signal reports, comments about this program, and Radio Hub related questions you may have to info.rhc@enet.cu. Again, info.rhc@enet.cu, or airmail to Arnie Coro. My last name you spell Charlie, Oscar, Romeo, Oscar in phonetics. Arnie Coro, Radio Havana, Cuba, Havana, Cuba. And I hope to see you all at the middle of the week edition next Tuesday and Wednesday UTC days, amigos. Keep in mind, we are going through an extended period of zero sunspots and very low solar activity, so the lower frequencies are the place where to find your best DX opportunities.
And that's all for today. This is Arnie Coro, Radio Amateur CO2KK, your host here at Radio Havana's DXers Unlimited, saying 73 and very good DX.